Good morning. We're getting ready for guitar class today. I'm running a couple minutes late. Let me go post a link on the website. And then it looks like I need to turn on some lights. Feeling a little bit too right. Let's see. I gotta grab this link, copy, close. Then we go to the website. The website is denverguitarorchestra.com. Tons of sheet music. We're making the switch over to all Christmas music over the next couple of days, and next couple of weeks, I should say. And it's going to be a delightful season of playing guitar, seeing what we can play and what we can't play, seeing how good we are and how terrible we might be. Hopefully, getting a little better by the time December 25th rolls around. And then, of course, we have all of our regular stuff that we work on all of the time also. So let me make sure the link is working properly. It is. Let me turn on a light or two. And then the first person who logs in our first 10 people who log in will let me know how the sound is. I'll be right back. I'm going to turn on a light. All right, here we go. Let's see who's here today. Elizabeth made it in all day, every day. Yeah, right. It's right there. I put my little trophy up here, so it'll be there for one more day, so I can be proud. And then after that, we have to get back to work, right? Let's see. What else do I have to mention? Sounds is good. Thanks, Elizabeth. Good to see you. Hope things are going well. Last 2 days have been pure mania, and so I'm looking forward to just getting everything to settle in and be a little bit more routine. And I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you for being here. We are working on making the switch over to Christmas music, and probably over the next couple of days, I'm going to be posting enough music where basically I think probably over the next few weeks, we'll sort of abandon the level 1, level 2, and level 3 music, probably, and just move to just playing Christmas music. And I think the beauty of playing fingerstyle guitar is that's the kind of music people want to hear at Christmas time. They really do. And so I think hopefully we'll find a few songs that work in your repertoire, and we will make it as pretty and beautiful as we can and get through the season with some beautiful music. Let's see. Good morning, international hero. I'm not just a local hero. I am an international hero or everyday hero. I thought it says I'm an everyday hero, right? Whatever. So yeah, sounds good. Still a bit bright. Yeah. I should have lowered the drapes. The problem is, this earlier time, the sun is still pouring into those windows pretty heavily. But yeah, whatever. You're not here to look at me. Thanks, Paley. I am such a big celebrity. Wait till Sunday night when the news is actually on. So enough of the silliness over that. Let's just, all that's done. My goal for the next 6 weeks is to just play, right? And whatever level you're working at, whatever songs we're working on, we do the best we can. And at the end of our time, when we get to the end of the year and you're able to play a nice little Christmas concert, maybe just for yourself, maybe for your cat, maybe for your family, maybe for 10,000 people in a stadium. You're not going to do that because they don't allow that anymore. But that you're going to just feel good about where you're at, where you started and where you're at as a guitarist for the season. I want to start today. Since it's been an insane week, I'd like to just I'd like to play in reverse order. I did a miserable job on Monday. My head was just not in the game on Monday. So I'd like to play Silent Night, Imagine, Wonderful World, and just go backward down the list today, if that's okay with you. And so let's go. The other thing that happened here is I have this little gadget that I keep all my sheet music in, and it did an update, and everything was fine, except that it erased everything in my library when it did the upgrade. So nice job, Books, Boox, 3 Books Max 3 creators. Thanks for nothing. So I don't know, they updated it. I don't know what they did different to it. So it'll take me a little bit longer to open up my things. And you guys are used to me being a digital mess anyway. And then I'm looking for one other device. Here it is. I got to get my foot pedal, and then I'll be ready to play. There we go. I had to move this table yesterday when they were here filming me, and now everything is out of whack. So, all right, let's get this hooked up to the gadget, and then we should be in good shape. Let's see. Looking for the gadget. Let's turn this on and see if we can get it to work properly. So anyway, you're pulling up Silent Night. Okay, connect. It's thinking about it. Oh, it looks like it's connected. Okay, good. All right, so I should be in good shape now to play Silent Night. There we go. All right. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully you guys are feeling good. We are going to be running this time slot through the end of the year at least, and we'll see how my schedule works out overall. Yesterday afternoon, it was such a crazy day. I'm supposed to use the afternoons to write music, and I sat there and watched home redecorating shows instead. Good morning, Pauline. Welcome in. Okay, Silent Night. Let's see how we do. Remember, if you're a singer, G chord, D7 chord, C chord. That's it, right? That's the only things you need to be able to play on this song, which is lovely. We all like songs like that. And melody players, remember, be fine with your level, right? If you're feeling like, man, that tough axe is a lot, don't play that right now, right? It's getting to the end of the year. We're supposed to just be having a good time on guitar. Play the parts that make sense to you. So let's play through the melody once. Just make sure there's nothing surprising in there, and then we'll dive into the tough axe just a little bit. Just the melody line, please. 1, 2. And then you would repeat. Remember, the last time you come through, it's set up to be played 3 times through. You play it as many times as you feel comfy with. Then instead of the last time through hitting the low G, you'll hit the high G. And it gives you a nice little finish to it. So really pretty melody, I think. Let's go through and talk about tough axe. And I think I mentioned this on Monday. When you're arranging in the key of G, obviously G chord comes up a lot. And that sounds beautiful right out. The problem is the more you hit these low strings in a G chord, and often when you have E minors, it's the same thing. You start to get a real heavy feel down here. So feel free to not necessarily hit, just because this arrangement says hit them all, you may not want to hit them all every time. You may want to let these 2 guys just ring away while they're dying out, and then play these upper notes just to get a little bit fresher feeling to it. G chord, E chords, have a tendency to feel a little bit heavy when you are arranging them. You don't have that problem with C and A quite so much, but this low string has this tendency to take over on guitar and be like, brr. And I don't necessarily know, depending on the quality of your guitar, that's either a good thing or a bad thing. And so just know I go ahead and range. I give you all of the notes that I think I might end up using, but I don't necessarily always use them all. Okay, so let's give it a try from the top, nice and slow. 1, 2. Let's go back to the top, play it one more time. Ready, go. Of course, don't let go of that until you have silenced the guitar, or let it ring out, one of the two. How are we playing? How's that feeling? It feels like it plays perfectly to me. I'm like, what? Did I do a decent arrangement? I don't see anything on there that I hate. And for me, I think the big challenge, of course, is in measure 9, where you've got to get your D7 on that high D7, 2 5s is 7. You have to do with your ring finger because you got to leave your pinky open to do the 8. Sounds really beautiful. Now, obviously, if you can't do that, then I would do 5 5, use the pinky to get the 7. And then you have to abandon that chord and then drop down and like that. For me, that's the moment where there's a little bit of diciness, like, oh, am I going to be able to pull this off? But I think that's where we've worked on that chord quite a bit, right? So your low D7 is down here, your high D7 is on 5, and then your ring there. And if you have a super big guitar, boy, that's a heck of a stretch. Obviously, I'm playing with a parlor-sized guitar, and so it's a little bit more comfy for me. And then that way I can get my pinky on there. But if you can't do that, then just abandon the chord, play through the melody section there, and then get back onto your chords. I think that, I don't know, I like it. guys. Really nice. I can play the tablax here. Good tempo. Okay, so Pauline's giving a thumbs up to that idea. I think also the other kind of nice thing about I mean, we do it here anyway, is I play everything slow on purpose because I feel like I learn a lot more by playing a piece of music slowly. And I'm always looking for music that can be played slow, so that I give a chance to really get my fingers in place properly and have a nice full sound to the guitar. And Christmas music is really set up for that, right? There's some fun ones that are fast and exciting. All I want for Christmas is you. Right? Yeah, there's that kind of song. But for the most part, Christmas music is sort of contemplative and a little bit slower and a little bit more beautiful. And so you can get away with playing it slower, which is good for all of us, I think. So, all right. Unless there's any other comments or questions about Silent Night, we'll move on. Nice piece of music. We'll probably be playing that a lot over the next few weeks. So, what I recommend you do in terms of setting up your book, by the way, grab Wonderful World. That's the next song we're going to work on. What I would recommend in terms of building your books is I always keep my Christmas music separate. So I keep it in a completely different book, actually. I have a red book. And I keep all of the Christmas music there. For all of the instruments, they always have a separate book for Christmas. Because what's going to happen is, the rest of the year, you're not going to want to play Christmas music. So it just sits on a shelf until, for me, about the middle of October, when I'm like, oh gosh, I got to start writing arrangements. But for you guys, hopefully not until the day after Halloween. And then you pull that red book out, open up. All right, where was I last year? And then you just dive into that for 6 weeks until, middle of December. And whenever you're not supposed to get together with your family this year, but normally you get together with your family, play a little music, and then the book goes back on the shelf middle of end of December, and then we start all over with whatever else we're working on. So that's why I keep it in a separate book. Probably a good idea for you to be thinking about that. Well, however you organize your music, I would say for our Christmas music, again, just put it in alphabetical order in its own section or its own book. That way, it's just not something all year long you're leafing through Christmas music that you're not going to play. All right. What a Wonderful World is not a Christmas tune, but we always play it at Christmas time. So I have officially dominated to go into the Christmas book. I'm not going to work on this song the rest of the year pretty much. So let's take a look at it. Remember, we're going to play down through measure 16, and then we come up to measure 1. Then we go back down at measure 13, you jump to 17, okay? Now you're going to play all the way down to 35, and that's where that DSL coda comes into play. So when you get to the end of 35, you go all the way back to measure 1, and notice above measure 1, that's the segno, that's that little fancy S thing right above measure 1. And then you're going to play it down to the coda, which is sitting on measure 13. This is segnos and codas are really easy to overlook the first time you play through a piece of music. When you get to 13, then you jump to 36, okay, and then we will finish out. Remember, when we get down to measure 36, I've arranged this where it slows way down through the notation. So I don't necessarily think you need to slow down your actual tempo until measures 43 or 44, somewhere in there, to start to actually wrap up the song. So the tempo should stay basically the same, and I've arranged a slowdown to happen just through the length of the notes in measure 36. So hopefully that'll make it a little clearer when you get there. Let's talk the chords very quickly. You got your D chord. You got the chord that I personally don't like, okay? This shape, to me, is, I'm still incredulous that over the last 400 years they decided to tune the guitars the way they do. It's dumb, but this is how this comes up so much. You have to be able to do it. You got a bar here, and you got your E minor shape, okay? E minor shape. But then you bring it up 2 and drop a bar on here. I will almost certainly add my middle finger onto the top of that bar to sort of to help make it clearer. Okay. Again, if that chord is too much for you, just play the melody note and move on. Don't lose too much sleep over it. It does sound beautiful if you can get it, but it's really, really hard. G chord is here. Instead of an E minor, this song uses E minor 7, so we just drop one of your fingers. Then you can hear the jazz feeling in that chord. Measure 8, I don't hate this one quite as much. B minor, bar chord on 2, A minor shape in front. Here's your A minor shape. It's on 2, so bar on 2 and A minor shape in front. And there's your B minor. And then you have a B flat in this. I don't put this in very many arrangements, but in this case, it made the most sense. So index finger here and these 3 fingers here. Now, I see a lot of older guitarists using this shape pretty religiously. Because of my ukulele background, I know there's much better ways around this type of shape than doing this, and so I don't often use this shape. But in this case, it works really nicely with the melody, the chord melody arrangement, and so you're not even ultimately going to end up using this. But just know, really all you're doing is playing an A chord, sliding it up, and adding what amounts to a bar here, then just hitting the lower string. And then so now you have a B flat. And of course, you can use a full bar if you prefer. Measure 12, there's an A11. We really don't take advantage of that on my arrangement. We're going to use those upper zeros in the tough acts, but the A11 doesn't do as much work there. And you'll find that in a lot of jazz tunes, crazy chords. And remember, when you're working in jazz, they usually have an ensemble, 2 or 3 or 12 players. And often one of them is a piano player. They have a wealth of possible sounds that they can create in those environments. You have one instrument, and you can decide how complicated you want to make your jazz chordings. And it, of course, depends on your skills and your abilities and all that. But I don't run around. I want it to sound kind of jazzy, but not super jazzy. The next chord is an A7. I don't want it to sound so jazzy that it hurts to play. That's my. So sometimes I don't worry overly much about, it's an A11 flat 5 sharp 7. You see chords like that in jazz, and I kind of ignore that. I'm like, all right, I still want to be able to play it, and I don't want to be all crazy like this. What other chords do we have in there? Measure 20, you have a regular A chord. And then page 2, I don't know if we add in any. Oh, we've got that diminished chord. We should probably talk about that. Way down at 33, if you're playing the tough acts, you're going to need to make 4/4/5/5. And it's interesting. Here again, this is a really smart arrangement that comes from the ukulele world. It's technically a D sharp diminished 7. And you don't see that when you go look chords up on the guitar chord finder. It doesn't show this shape, but I happen to know, hey, this not only does this, it's easy to play, but it's also easier to play, but it also gives you the 7th tone in there as well, and really creates a cool tension there. And then the D sharp diminished, this diminished shape is identical on 4 as it is on 1. Okay, it's just a lower voicing of it. So you'll see in my arrangement in 33, you're going to be on the 4th fret, but in measure 34, it's going to be on the 1st fret. Same chord, same shape, different places on the fretboard. It's the cool part about diminished. It's just a different inversion of it. And then I think that's it. That's all the chords we have. So the chords are what you would expect in a high-level jazz piece. This isn't the highest level jazz piece, but it's up there, right? There's a lot of stuff there to keep you guessing. And so if you were a singer, you definitely have your work cut out for you. And the chords sound really nice. Let's talk about melody. Let's go through and play through that. Look for anything that's particularly horrifying. We won't do all the repeats. We'll just stop and we'll talk about what we've done and move on. Highest number you got in here is a 7. So probably when you're going to be playing that 7, you're thinking about playing in 5th position with your ring finger on 7, probably. Okay, so let's play the melody for a little bit and see how it goes from the top. It's a 1 beat count in, actually. 1. repeat, but let's not repeat. Let's just move on to measure 17. Wonderful. What a wonderful world. So we're on 18 into 19, and then let's keep moving. Back and repeat the beginning. So then let's jump to 36 and make sure there's nothing there. I think it's basically this more of the same. At 36, 1, 2. And then it slows down here. So all of the tones are really beautiful through there. Not super hard to play. Just be aware when you see a 5, there's likely to be a 7 coming after it, and I'm thinking absolutely slide up to the 5th position and then use your ring finger on 7. That's going to work for almost every 5 in the book, 5 and 7. So no reason not to just minimize the amount of work you have to do. Just slide up the 5 and be there because the 7s are following it. All right, talking about the tough acts now. We've been through this a couple of times, so we'll just start playing and see how you do. And anywhere that's super crazy, we'll stop and talk about. Before we get too far, let's just talk about that mess at measure 2. And you put on your bar on 2, ring on 4, pinky on 5. Okay, that's probably one of the least pleasant things you're going to have to do in this song. Is get that shape. Bar on 2, ring on. Because really what you're doing is you're making your F sharp minor, but then you're out of fingers, right? So now you've got to put your melody notes here, which means you have to pull this ring down here. Now you could do this, but that's too hard of a stretch. So just keep your bar on. Put your ring finger on 4, pinky on 5. It'll sound fine. I just hit the 5th string accidentally, and it sounds kind of cool. A little bit of different feeling to it. Wrong note on it that way. All right, from the top. 1. I'm going to count in 2. Okay, 1, 2. Oh, the sound is going bad. What happened to the sound? Oh no, sound is breaking up. What time is it? 9:30. Let's see if it clears. If the sound doesn't clear here in just a minute, we'll have to reboot. Let me know, guys, if the sound is getting better. If I still am, sometimes it just goes bad on us. That's the YouTube situation. Help me out. Let me know if I'm clearing up or not. If I'm not clearing up, we will do a quick reboot. Still garble. Okay. I'll go back to the website. We'll exit this stream. I'll start a new stream, and it'll be fine. All right. So I'm going to go back to the website. All right.